Spicy or sweet, we're going to talk about the Salsa Siesta first. It's certainly a rather unique mod collection guitar, as it looks to me like it might have started life as one of the Tri-Burst Guitar Center exclusives, but then they decided to do a new clear coat with a glitter flake on top of it. It's kind of interesting. I'm not normally a huge fan of this finish, but something with all the sparkliness works. Because if you look really closely, you've got a lot of flamed figuring, and I think this is just an optical illusion. If you zoom in here, it nearly has the 3-ply binding look to it, like an ES345. But if you come up here, you can confirm it's just 1-ply. Although, not gonna lie, looks pretty good. Gibson should do it. But then another major difference here is the golden hardware. With our blacked out plastics, complements that colorway quite nicely. But they continue on the theme of using moto backplates on everything again this week. And we get the glitteriness over top of a transparent red back. I suppose that's why this one's so eye-catching. You get the wood grain and the sparkliness. And oh my goodness, even the matching headstock? I do quite enjoy that, although the Les Paul model silkscreen looks a little bit more bold than usual. And they even blacked out our truss rod cover up here. But it does appear that one has had a refret and has some tooling marks from that process, but that's a pretty cool rosewood board. I'm not surprised that sold. Then for about $100 less, we had the Borealis Burst. This one's looking pretty sweet too. Untraditional, but cool. With a similar thing going on as our last. Because if you look very, very, very closely, you can see there's like a little bit of metallic flake right before your finish is applied. It's mainly apparent right up here where the light is hitting off of it. But I would call this figure top a little bit more extreme than the last. It reminds me of the Epiphone Blueberry Burst, where they put a little bit more red and purple into it. Although do pay special attention, it's a gloss top, satin back and side. And then, they put a little goofy stinger back there just for fun too. But wow, if my eyes are not deceiving me, it looks like they opted for a satin headstock. And while stingers are really cool, I've never been a big fan of them when they're in the satin hue. If they could gloss the stinger, satin the back of the neck, that'd be fun. But even though the back looked like a flat blue, when you really zoom in, it's a glitter mixture of black and blue with a bit of purple occasionally. A real visual treat when you got it up close. Our next one's a little bit unusual, the Vanguard GT. It reminds me a lot of the Boogie Van series, just a little bit different. At first glance, it looks like a pale yellow with an orange stripe running down here, and then you got this little woo black one. Although if you get really close to it, it's actually all metallic. So, it's going to do its color shifting in the light, but that's a really, really bright gold top. You don't normally find them that extravagantly attacking and bright. But they try to stay within tradition with your brown mahogany back. It appears to be 2 pieces, and it has some interesting wood grain to it. No crazy shenanigans up the back of the neck either. Just our new mod collection decal. But now my favorite one this week, Yellow Ladybug. I like it. It's better than the red one we saw about a week or 2 ago, which if memory serves me right, was like an ES335, something like that. Something about, it's like a Les Paul special that's caught the smallpox or something, I don't know. Perhaps large pox, because those are giant polka dots all over this thing. And even though it looks like they've spaced them out fairly evenly, there's a certain sporadic randomness that the carves of a Les Paul create. And then you get the additions of your pick guard, pickups, all the good stuff, witch hat knobs. Because when you flip it over to the back, it looks a little bit more uniform outside of having your back plates. But what's even better here is you can still see the mahogany wood grains. All your regular goodness with TV yellow, just with added spots. I can totally appreciate it not being for everyone, but look, it even goes up the neck. They encapsulated the headstock, even the edges, so your playing profile might look something like that. If you're gonna do it right? And look, giant poker chip. I was tempted, but I'm glad somebody else loved it as much as I did. Perhaps things have been a little bit too crazy. Let's look at Blunique. Despite the name, it's really just a nice light metallic blue ES330. I suppose the largest difference here is we've got a Bigsby B7, equipped with the Vibramate spoiler system. That way it's easier to string up. You don't find the custom color 330s, so this might be a good opportunity for someone if you're willing to pay the asking price. got your regular double dog ear P90s. But hear me out, an ebony fretboard on this would have been so much better, but okay, maybe now I know why it's called Blunique. What's going on over here, Gibson? Somebody's getting a little too crazy with the Photoshop job. I think that's the first time I've seen a major error like that. I mean, there was once the demo shop, but that's like a duplication glitch going on. But perhaps the Bluniqueness comes from our matching headstock. It has a very light blue tint to it. Still primarily ebony, but you can see from the logo that there is going to be a bit of a blue sparkle there. Get to the dermatologist, there's a sunspot. I suppose now that I've put it in that light, it's even less appealing to me. But you've got a little bit of yellow into brownish into an almost darker black brown, mixed with the straight up black hardware uncovered humbucker pickups. We do not have a pick guard on this one, although if we did, it would likely be black to match our new poker chip. It's slightly metallic. I think my favorite thing so far is this little wood grain section here on the neck, as they left the back completely natural, and then blacked out our Grover tuners, leaving everything else about normal, aside from also blacking out our screws to the truss rod cover. The lefties get in on the action this week with an SG officially known as Coral Blaze. It's nearly a reddish pink, all done up in satin, and now we get uncovered humbuckers. Although, to be fair, it looks like they gave us some sort of a special knob on top of that. Maybe not the craziest we've ever seen, but if you love pink and SGs, what this needs to spice it up just a tad, some black pinstriping, do something fancy like that. But what's great about it being a blank canvas right now is you could always do that yourself if you agree with me, or take it to a guy that can make it happen. But you see what I see here? Despite being a satin finish, that's really reflective. I think that's just their studio lights reflecting off of the chrome tuner. Actually, it's probably nickel, but very similar. And that's what causes that rather than the finish being reflective. I think they've changed their lighting setup because I've only noticed that in the past couple of weeks. But here's a slightly more close-up look at, well, it looks like they took the same finish that's applied here and just applied it on the black top hat style knobs. So in theory, those could potentially have a satin feel to them as well. Maybe still gloss top because they just look straight up ebony there. This has been the usual time that I've said, oh yeah, the EU mod collection didn't update again. Well, that's wrong this week. I only caught 2, so there might have been one that I missed, but at least I got Lemon Shark. The name's pretty cool, but it's another satin refinish. At least on the back and edge. The top might be glossy now that I'm looking closer, but we've got these black metal knurled knobs matched with our hardware. That's gold, and then the black plastic truss rod cover that we can't see here, and then pick guard, that's the word I'm trying to think of as I spew off random things, and black pickup rings with the removal of the poker chip. And if you look super closely, you can still see some of the wood grain underneath. It's like the bottom side of a shark. But we all know what sharks are famous for in the movies, so perhaps that's why it's red over here. Not the best color scheme I've seen, but it adds some variety. And that's exactly what the mod collection is great for. Because I know we've talked about this before, some guys might find some of these really atrociously ugly or overpriced. But as a company, they can let these guys loose to create whatever they want, because you only ever have to sell one to the public's dismay or delight. The other one was mid-70s Cherry. Must have been a recent run of these 330s for us to see 2 of them. Once again with the stock Bigsby. This one did not get the Vibramate spoiler system though. Interesting. Usually when the mod collection adds one, they will just throw that spoiler on it because I think it's just ease of stringing. Bigsby's are just a pain in the butt when it comes to restringing, taking them off. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as a Floyd Rose, but it's still just a little bit of a kink in your day, especially when you have to do it from scratch. Now, when I'm documenting one, it's maybe another 5 minutes, but it feels treacherous, mainly because these little ball ends can sometimes slip off and ding up your finish right here. So it's a good idea to put some tape and felt down just in case if you're working on someone else's guitar. But anyways, back to the merits of this one. I like the double stain job that they've got going on that accentuates the grain on the front and back. It's not quite Back to the Future. It's a little bit of a different flavor. Well, let's just say with some of the asking prices on the available Epiphones, this might start looking attractive to someone because that's a straight up gloss refin. And once you get to the logo, you can tell maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of a tint there, not a whole lot, or it could just be a slightly darker pearl. At the time of recording, I did not see the Gibson Instagram Germany post any in the flesh shots, so maybe there was only 2. Viewers are usually pretty good chiming in though, so if there was more, we'll check them out next week. And now the good old demo shop. They are continuing on with that reverb sale, which by doing some quick math, I believe it's about 15% off. It makes some of them worth it more than others. Like for example, wow, this is a $4,000 guitar brand new. And the big kicker is you gotta remember that's a Gibson.com exclusive as well as the Gibson Garage, and they are known for not discounting their guitars or really ever having a posted sale, to be honest. So, I mean, if you're after one of these, this is a smoking deal. Like, I can't even match that price because I paid a lot more for mine. But I'm curious, what is wrong with this particular one? Because I don't really see anything, just regular things that normally happen on a brand new. Apparently just some light scuffs in the finish on its butt and a few other areas. This could be a big deal. However, most of them have a slight ledge. But hey, if that demo stamp bothers you, I'll make you a deal on this one. Check my website. I'm going to put it at my best price, which will be similar to the after tax of that last one. But next up, they had a Bourbon Burst 60 Standard. I mean, under $1,800 shipped to your door with a 2-year playability warranty. If you've been waiting for the right time to buy a Standard, right now is really good. We have not seen them drop under that 2,000-ish range in a long time. And these more plain top ones are definitely ripe for the picking right now. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those. Everybody wants the super flashy one, but sometimes there's a nice plain top out there. I wouldn't even necessarily consider this a plain top. It definitely has a little bit of fun going on, but maybe it is a plain top now that I look closer. But you can see some figuring here. I really like the plain tops that have no figuring at all. But even on the plain top offerings, that's hard to find. Perhaps this one would be more to your style. Just a little bit of flame in the center. But usually tops like these just do not photograph well. And then when you get them in person, you see a lot of chatoyant movement. That is the beauty of regular plain tops. They've got the color shifting. They just don't have the lines. At least on the super desirable plain tops. But whoa, glad I looked through these photos. That's some interesting yin-yangy wood grain. Here's another rustic looking Bourbon Burst. Maybe a little bit brighter than intended, but a similar price point. $17.84 shipped to your door. They even have one of the custom color Oxbloods, which I suppose now that I think about, whoa, that is quite a contrast there. Very bright mahogany body. But these are typically translucent Oxbloods. So you might even have a decent figure top under there. We just can't see it in this lighting. Or maybe this one got sprayed really dark. And just like that Ebony Supreme, here's one of the ES style ones for about the same price. It's one of those things where, again, if you're in the market for this particular model, you could be paying much worse. You got a little bit of that whiteness from the maple veneer on the back showing through. And this model does indeed get that 3-ply binding. So I think with that, it's a perfect way to end tonight's episode. Started talking about 3-ply binding, ended talking about 3-ply binding. All right, troglodytes, take care. Woo, woo, woo.